awaits.
Huh?
I pull it. I'm mad enough to pull it.
On December 6, 2021, Harris County Police responded to a call from a concerned neighbor who has just witnessed something unimaginable.
Harris County 911, what is the location of your emergency?
I'm in Twin Lock, and we heard a loud, like 3 pops, bang, bang, bang. So we went outside, and I looked, and I see somebody is laying on their back, and it looks like they've got blood on her chest and blood coming out of her mouth.
Law enforcement quickly rushes to the 19,800 block of Rose Dawn Lane, Texas, unaware that this call is about to draw them into a chilling nightmare. As the officers arrive at the scene, they encounter an unsettling sight in the driveway: a lifeless woman lying on the ground and a man standing right next to her, wearing only a bathrobe. His behavior seems odd, so officers swiftly make their move.
My hands in here. What else could I do?
Keep him in there. What's going on? Where's the weapon at? Where's the weapon?
I don't know.
Get your hands behind your back for me. Anybody else inside the residence?
No.
The man they've arrested appears heavily intoxicated, and officers can't tell if he's being honest. Rather than acknowledging the lifeless body beside him, he repeatedly demands another drink.
That ain't another drink.
So the detectives turn their attention to the crime scene. While canvassing the area, they identify the victim as 48-year-old Patricia Birmingham. The horror deepens when they find 3 shotgun shells, 2 near the tires of a white Tesla parked in the driveway, and the 3rd shot struck Patricia in the right eye, killing her instantly. At first glance, the officers consider the possibility of an accident, suggesting 2 shots aimed at the tires and 1 mistakenly hitting Patricia. But the theory of accidental death is rendered obsolete when they discover CCTV footage from the neighborhood. Could this footage hold the answers they're looking for? Patricia's seen holding her phone tightly, appearing to record something, making it the possible key to solve this mystery. Moments later, out of nowhere, the same man in a bathrobe is caught chasing her down the road. The detectives can't fully understand why this man is pursuing her and what kind of connection they have. The man in custody is none other than Patricia's husband, 60-year-old Carrie Birmingham. Before they can ask Carrie, he begins to act strangely.
So, gentlemen, this would go a lot smoother if we were sitting in my living room and I would need a tall glass of vodka with just a shot of cranberry juice.
As officers struggle to control him, he admits something that nobody anticipates, turning everyone's doubts into reality. They begin to realize this case may not be as straightforward as it first appeared.
There still has to be an investigation that takes place. Physical evidence has to be recovered, eyewitness testimony, video surveillance footage.
With a warrant in hand, the detectives swiftly search the scene for more evidence.
We entered the residence through the side door of the house, and we observed a Benelli shotgun leaning up against the corner of the kitchen area right by that door. Based on proximity to where it was to Patricia Birmingham's body, it could have been used in this case.
Forensic testing later confirms that the shotgun discovered near the driveway is a direct match to the shells collected outside. But it's inside the garage that investigators uncover the most damning piece of evidence.
On top of some water bottles, we had located what appeared to be Patricia Birmingham's cellular device.
This is the same phone captured on CCTV. Detectives quickly notice bloodstains on it, and forensic tests confirm the blood belongs to Patricia. The officers realize that this phone might have evidence of her final moments. The officers secure a warrant to examine her phone, and its contents will only deepen the tension. On it, they find a secret audio recording that exposes a clearer, yet deeply unsettling picture of the couple's dynamic.
She was skinny. Your grandmother was fat. And that's what you're going to love, because you don't do a goddamn thing to take care of it.
Oh my God, we're not going on the fat train now, are we?
Yeah, we'll
Are we hopping on the fat train now? What the hell is wrong with you? How did you gain so much weight? You don't look healthy.
However, the recording soon reveals that the argument escalated around 9:58 a.m., and Patricia's voice then sounds tense and angry.
You've been doing that for a long time.
No, I haven't. I just felt like it was time for me to do it right now. Because you're threatening me and Olivia. Don't touch me. Do not touch me, Carrie Birmingham. I swear to God.
This isn't the only moment in the couple's fights where one partner pulls a weapon on the other. As the audio continues, Patricia's words make his actions clear. For investigators, it becomes an important piece of evidence because it shows the pattern of tension in the household.
Which led me to believe that this might not be the first time that Mr. Birmingham has either threatened her with a firearm or pointed a firearm at her.
The last lunch that we had, we talked about business, we talked about personal stuff. She opened up about her situation, and she even admitted to me that Carrie had pulled a gun several times before in the past. She left me in shock because, like, how a successful woman is dealing with something like that.
You do not have the right to touch me. Yeah, go get your gun. Go get your gun, Karen. Maybe you should. Do it. I'll be sitting right here.
Threat that he's going to kill her. She obviously doesn't take it seriously because she says, go ahead. And that's this downplaying of a real threat. And that could either be because he's repeatedly threatened this in the past, or she just doesn't believe that he's capable of that.
That's typical for the household. However, the recording soon reveals that the argument escalated around 9:58 a.m. As investigators gather more details from Patricia's friends, the situation grows more troubling. They confirm that Carrie hasn't been in his right state of mind lately. His increasingly erratic behavior makes it all certain for investigators that he was capable of killing her. The remaining audio reveals exactly that.
I got your...
Fine, I don't give a... I really don't. Do what you gotta do. I don't care.
All I have to do is not kill him.
You're a f***ing alcoholic.
You know what? You know what? You called me an alcoholic.
Yeah, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because you weren't an alcoholic before I met you.
Maybe I should just kill you right now.
Kill me.
But Patricia wasn't aware that Carrie was already setting his sinister plan into motion. Later, the detectives uncover more evidence, which includes not just audio, but more terrifying visuals that lead straight to Patricia's final moments. Right after the recorded audio ends, Patricia, believing the argument's over and she can finally distance herself from Carrie, steps outside, but cleverly keeps recording. This is the exact moment she appears on CCTV, almost ready to escape, but what she records next on her cell phone reveals Carrie's attempts to humiliate her in public.
Hey, Reese, where'd you get that bag that I gave you? That Christmas bag. Where'd you get it? Huh?
You're embarrassing yourself.
Carrie's even willing to humiliate himself as he walks onto the street with his bathrobe hanging open, another clear indicator as to why Patricia felt she needed to get away.
It appears that she's trying to remove herself from the situation inside of the home. And he's continuing to follow her, walking down the street away from their house.
She clearly feels threatened enough that she needs to put distance.
Meanwhile, Patricia's visibly exhausted, gasping for breath as Carrie continues to chase her.
What?
In the end, Carrie appears to be heading back home. Yet, behind that silence, he plots something dangerous. Even in his intoxicated state, he knows Patricia's been recording his every move. So he makes a calculated choice to stay quiet enough to make Patricia believe that everything's over and follow him back into the residence. At that moment, Patricia doesn't know that the most horrific event of her life awaits.
Huh? You really want this on video?
I'll pull it. I'm mad enough to just pull it.
Your neighbors are gonna see you pointing a gun at me.
Patricia deliberately mentions the neighbors as witnesses and captures his every move on camera, a clever attempt to warn him to stop. Yet, despite knowing he's being recorded, he shows no hesitation before carrying out his next deadly act.
I'm ready to go.
Carrie's heard firing 3 shots, one striking Patricia and the other 2 hitting the car. At the end, Patricia had only one choice to record her final moments, as she had no way to escape.
He shoots her once in the head. The second 2 shots that are heard on that video, he actually turns the gun and immediately in seconds takes out the front tire and the back tire of her vehicle. So she shot 1 time in the head, meaning that she had to have a closed casket funeral. Her eye was gone. Her face was blown off.
It's clear this isn't just violence. It's a merciless execution. His demeanor afterwards is even more horrifying. Instead of panicking, he seems relaxed, almost as if he's finally achieved what he always wanted. Carrie shows no remorse and still has the audacity to blame Patricia for everything.
Murdered her.
In March 2024, the Patricia Birmingham murder case goes to trial. Carrie's defense attorney claims it was a crime of passion fueled by sudden emotional distress. Unfortunately, this argument is accepted by the all-woman jury, and after deliberation, Carrie's sentenced to 10 years in prison, fined $5,000, with parole possible after 5 years. Their daughter, Olivia, is heartbroken by her father's actions. She also left disappointed by the court's decision, feeling that justice for her mother was far too limited.
I lost both my parents that day. My dad died that day too. Because the person who did that to my mom and my father aren't the same person. That sudden passion, you have to have something, you have to have made that decision within you for a while. I feel like to do that to somebody you really, really love.